everybody. My name is Bart Charles Begley, or BC Begley for short. It is Friday, February the 10th, 2023, and here are your top news stories for today. Former Vice President Mike Pence has been subpoenaed by special counsel investigating Trump's role in January the 6th. So former Vice President Mike Pence has been subpoenaed by the special counsel that's investigating former President Donald Trump's effort to stay in office after the 2020 election and his role in the January 6th riot on the Capitol. This is according to a source that is familiar with the matter. Experts believe a Chinese satellite fired green lasers over Hawaii. Late last month, mysterious green laser beams were spotted from Hawaii's tallest peak. Experts initially said the burst of laser beams was emitted by a NASA spacecraft, though that was proven incorrect this week, with evidence pointing to a Chinese satellite. Tennessee is set to pass a law that restricts drag shows. Legislation designed to restrict where certain drag shows can take place passed the Tennessee Senate on Thursday. Senate lawmakers voted 26-6 in favor of the bill, with only Democrats opposing. The bill is slightly different than a version moving through the House chamber. House Democrats fire motion to expel Representative George Santos. A group of House congressional Democrats insisted they were left with no other choice but to file for a resolution to expel embattled Republican representative from New York, George Santos, from Congress. A grandmother has been charged with murder in the beating death of her 8-year-old granddaughter. A North Carolina grandmother has been charged with first-degree murder in the beating death of her 8-year-old granddaughter. The Nash County Sheriff's Office said Patricia Ann Ricks, 72, is accused of beating the child so badly that she was dead when she arrived at a local hospital on Tuesday. Authorities said she had injuries, quote, throughout her entire body and head. A huge piece of the sun broke off, and scientists are left stunned. The sun has always fascinated astronomers, and now a new development has baffled scientists. A huge part of the sun broke off of its surface and created a tornado-like swirl around its north pole. Though scientists are trying to analyze how this occurred, the video of the development has stunned the space community. Turkish anger has turned to Turkish President Erdogan, over earthquake delays and weak buildings. So the Turkish President Erdogan is facing mounting criticism from earthquake survivors and opposition parties over the country's poor construction record and what they say has been an inadequate response to one of the worst natural disasters seen in that nation. Moldova says Russian missiles entered its airspace as barrage in Ukraine has intensified. Moldova said a Russian missile entered into its airspace en route to a target in Ukraine during the latest wave of Russian attacks, adding to the risk of war spilling over as the Kremlin laid out its plans to mark the first anniversary of the invasion. The Pentagon is looking to restart its top-secret programs in Ukraine. The United States Pentagon is urging Congress to resume funding a pair of, quote, top-secret programs inside Ukraine that were suspended ahead of Russia's invasion last year. This is according to current and former United States officials. If this is approved, the move would allow American Special Operations troops to employ Ukrainian operatives to observe Russian military movements and counter disinformation. The FBI has become politically weaponized, says ex-special agent. A former FBI agent has told United States lawmakers in Washington of a loss of trust in the law enforcement agency among many Americans, and that the Bureau has become, quote, politically weaponized by the federal government. John Fetterman is still in the hospital as doctors rule out a second stroke. Freshman Senator John Fetterman, a Democrat from Pennsylvania, remained in hospital and under care Thursday night as doctors ruled out another stroke but monitored him for signs of seizure, his spokesman said. Scotland's first witchcraft museum to display mummified cat and enchanted objects. Scotland's first museum of witchcraft is set to open its doors to the public later this month and will display mummified animals and magical objects. Democratic lawmaker claims the New York Post Hunter Biden story is, quote, 100% false during a committee hearing on tech censorship. Representative Dan Goldman, a Democrat from New York, claimed during a House Oversight Committee hearing on Wednesday that the story of Hunter Biden introducing his father, Joe Biden, to a Burisma advisor when he was vice president was, quote, 100% false. A shipwreck dubbed the Bad Luck Barkentine has been discovered in Lake Superior. An old shipwreck has been discovered at the bottom of Lake Superior. Searchers with the Great Lakes Shipwreck Historical Society found the 144-foot Barkentine necklace 600 feet underwater. It was located 40 miles northwest of Vermilion Point of Michigan. 2 people have been killed in Jerusalem terror car ramming, including a 6-year-old boy, and the driver was shot dead. A 6-year-old boy and a 20-year-old man were killed, and at least 5 others were wounded in a car-ramming terror attack near East Jerusalem's Ramat neighborhood, police and medics said on Friday. One of those wounded was a child in critical condition, the brother of the slain 6-year-old. Hunger cliff is looming as 32 states set to slash food stamp benefits. A, quote, hunger cliff is looming for millions of Americans, with 32 states set to slash food stamp benefits beginning in March. The cuts will impact more than 30 million people who are enrolled in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, otherwise known as SNAP, in those states, according to data from the United States Department of Agriculture. Among the states where recipients are facing cuts are California and Texas, which have the greatest number of people on SNAP at 5.1 million and 3.6 million recipients, respectively. A Texas man dressed as a clown and then nominated himself for the Austin Energy CEO after a week of outages. A Texas man was very upset with the way power outages were handled following a storm last week, and then he decided to attend a city council meeting on Thursday dressed up as a clown, claiming he was the best suited for the job of Austin Energy CEO. More than 348,000 residents were affected by this storm for a week. Okay, everybody, those were today's news headlines. As always, I will put links to all of the articles I have covered in this video in the video's description. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, if you want, you can leave a comment down below. And if you guys are looking for even more news, you can visit my website at bcbegley.com. There will be more videos coming out today, so stay tuned for those. And I'll see you guys for even more news headlines on Monday.